Hi guys, recently I made this gorgeous, simple Irish white soda bread, but I infused it with the flavours of the caprese salad from the island of Capri, and it was so delicious. I started off by mixing up 550 grams of plain white flour or strong bread flour. To that I added about a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Then just whisk all these together to combine, and this will mean you don't have to sift any of the ingredients. Just make sure that you don't whisk it so vigorously that you cause a big flour cloud. Then set your dry ingredients aside while you move on to your wet ingredients. Start off with a small measuring cup and fill it up to 450 milliliters of buttermilk. Then set that aside and take another larger measuring cup for more wet ingredients. To this I added about 150 grams of tomato puree and thinned that out with about a tablespoon of white vinegar and mixed that up. This is to thin it out so that it'll mix more evenly and nicely with the buttermilk that I'm going to add to it. So now add your buttermilk just a little bit at a time and make sure that each little bit that you add is mixed up and incorporated completely into the tomato and vinegar mixture before you add more buttermilk, and then mix that in and keep going until all the buttermilk is added and mixed in completely, and you get a really nice, smooth, even mixture with no bits of tomato puree floating in it. It's all evenly combined. You can see now there that this measuring cup is up to about 550 milliliters, which means that the tomato puree and the vinegar came to 100 milliliters. So now set that measuring cup aside before you go on to your fresh ingredients. First off is a fresh ball of mozzarella that I'm going to cut into pretty small dice so that it'll be evenly dispersed throughout the loaf. I know that in Italy, so many Italian mamas will tell you that you should not cut mozzarella, you should only tear it. And all I can say to that is that this bread is a hybrid between Irish tradition and Italian tradition, and in Ireland we do what the hell we want. Go ahead and cut this mozzarella. So when that's done, take all your mozzarella pieces and add them to your tomatoey buttermilk. Next I added a good handful of semi-sun-dried tomatoes. You can use shop butter if you like, but to find out how I made these, click on the link in the description below or on the picture in the top of the screen. Give that a good mix in before you move on to your fresh basil. Take a good decent handful of it and separate all the leaves from the stalks. Chop up the leaves pretty finely, or as fine as you like, before adding them to the buttermilk and mixing them up as well. Then I added 2 tablespoons of these capers and mixed them in. I love these things, but if you don't, just leave them out. A lot of people don't like them, so it's no big deal. Then you bring back your dry ingredients and make a well in the center, and into the well you pour your wet ingredients, your buttermilk, tomato, basil, mozzarella, capers. Then with a rigid claw-shaped hand, you mix the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. I know this might have a load of Italian flavours and ingredients, but it's based on a traditional Irish soda bread recipe, and this is the traditional Irish way of making soda bread. So now on a lightly floured surface, you turn it out to shape it. So just toss to shape and a few times in the flour. It doesn't need any time to prove or rise or anything like that. This is an awful lot of dough, and I made the mistake of using just 1 loaf tin when I should have split the dough in 2 and used 2 loaf tins, or else kept the dough in 1 and rolled it up into a ball and kept rolling it and transferred it seam side down onto a floured baking tray or roasting tray and baked it freeform. I did give the loaf a little slit down the top of it just to help it rise more easily, but as if it needed it, it rose like a beast in the oven. Wait and see. I then put it into a really hot oven at 230 degrees Celsius, and once it was in, I immediately turned it down to 200 degrees Celsius. I left it in the oven to bake for 45 minutes before I took it out of its loaf tin and put it back into the oven for another 10 minutes. After a final 10 minutes, I took it out, let it cool on a wire rack before setting it on this chopping board, and trust me, it was so crunchy. If you just listen. Gorgeous, such a nice crust and so moist in the middle. All the tomatoes and basil and mozzarella is going to make for a really moist crumb. The first day that I made this, it was so nice, I didn't even put butter on it. I was eating it dry on its own and it was beautiful. The next day, it made for the most amazing sandwiches. I hope you all try this. It was so good. By the way, before this goes in the oven, you can cut the dough into scone shapes to make for savoury scones or pre-dinner rolls. So that's it. I love a caprese salad and I really wanted to find a way to kind of shoehorn those caprese flavors into something that would otherwise be really traditionally Irish. And I hope you liked this recipe. If you did, be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons below and find me on social media. All the links are in the description, as is the link to the full recipe on my blog to www.rookiecook.org.